Our next speaker is Rini Mehta of the University of Illinois.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at this conference. I come from the other part of campus, humanities and film studies and social sciences and so on and so on and so forth. But I have followed Clowder and have experimented with the tool a little bit, and I'm going to present sort of a very compelling case for using Clowder in film studies. So my idea is to deploy Clowder in a supervised study of film data. To my mind, Clowder has all the capabilities that can be used to extract object data from films by using just sort of a simple subset of the capabilities that Clowder has. And that data can be invaluable to film scholars, traditional film scholars, as well as those film scholars who use digital tools. So the kind of data that I am looking at, or I'm looking for rather, is that who, what, when, and how frequently an object or a person or a thing appears in a film. Now, such data by itself is not much, but to film scholars, an aggregation of the data can be very, very useful. Why do this? So let me just set out the context of this. Film studies, traditionally, they have been very subjective interpretations and observations of shots. So you will find pretty much hundreds and thousands of papers and at least several thousand books, which are dedicated to studies of films. And for them, the kind of the launching pad of their investigation is a sort of a series of subjective observation of shots. I want to intervene in this mode of study by creating an actual data set of what is happening in the shots, right? And so which will open up the field by allowing us to use many more number of shots from the films as opposed to a small sample of shots which are discussed in an essay or a book on a film. But we can do so much more with a data set of faces and objects. And this is where Clowder comes in. Okay. So a little bit of intro about myself. I'm by traditional training, I'm a literary and film scholar, and I'm currently training to be a computer scientist. I'm taking computer science courses, and this is my second area of study right now. I'm an associate professor of comparative literature, but I'm also an affiliate of NCSA, and this year I'm going to be a fellow in second discipline, a fellowship offered by the Liberal Arts and Sciences, and I'm studying computer science. I have studied cinema conventionally, and I have also published a book on Indian cinema called Unruly Cinema, which was published last year. But over the period of the last 3 years, I have become cognizant and kind of more of a convert into the world of digital research, which is not an end in itself, but which can enrich both cinema, both film and literary studies immensely. And I have seen this in practice because I'm someone who teaches hundreds of students each year a cinema course. And this is a course that I teach, Indian Cinema in Context, which enrolls 300 students, which is taught every spring. And I give the students the data of a film to play with, and they do a great job working manually, measuring the dialogue each person speaks in the film, and it results in great visualizations. And I am also the recipient of special initiative grant given by the University of Illinois, which has allowed me to work with teams of students to work with digital data. Now, back to Clowder. This is where Clowder comes in, and this is the relevance for the conference. The big idea is to use Clowder to tag one actor at a time locally in a sampling of images in a film from a film. Say one film. The name of the film is A League of Their Own. The film features Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna, etc. So I am going to tag using Clowder, uh, let's say, the face of Tom Hanks as it appears in shots from the film. And then I want Clowder to identify that actor in every other image in the same folder. Right? So how do I do that? So beyond identifying one actor, what I can do with gathering the same data set for multiple actors is kind of look at how gender and race are represented, and this can pretty much lead to sort of a close reading or viewing of the cinematic text. This is what I'm looking at Clowder to do. We can also do something very, very interesting. We can actually quantify the presence of a star. We can quantify star presence, which, if you do not use any digital tool, it's just a very vague, intangible phenomenon. What is a star's presence? Once we start using digital tools, and specifically if we use Clowder to measure the number of times an actor's face appears in each shot, in all the shots of the film, then we can actually quantify the visual presence of each of the characters in the films. So I have used a lot of manually collected data, and I have used R Studio, Python, D3 to visualize that kind of data. And that data is fascinating. That is something that I can vouch for. And previously, I have used some kind of canned AI, such as Microsoft Stream used to offer some. And I'm currently using Microsoft Azure, which costs a lot of money and which is quite canned and not so much fun to use, which can do kind of a close reading of faces and can produce a data set of what the AI sees as the amount of time that a star appears in the film for. And such results then can be visualized like this. It's words spoken by each character, they can be quantified, etc. Of course, I'm looking at just the visual data, not the dialogue data when I'm talking about Clowder. So what I am looking to develop with Clowder, with the help of collaborators, hopefully, is to create a toolbox for close watching, not passively. The thing that Azure or Stream used to do, and Azure does, and I'm sure the Amazon Web Services also does. I don't want something that is automatically generated, passively generated, that is machine read, remotely processed. I want the active participation of a viewer, that a user can use a toolbox, created with the help of Clowder. And we will have still images from a movie, like say a shot every 5 seconds. And then we have the sample image of each actor from the IMDb image gallery. Say, the film that I'm talking about, this is a shot from the film A League of Their Own. Again, Tom Hanks. Uh, Another shot featuring Tom Hanks in the same movie. And here is the folder that I'm talking about. This is the IMDb image gallery. This is basically a bunch of faces of as they appear of Tom Hanks in the same film. right? So this is completely local. This is completely local. This is not like a global image set of Tom Hanks, but this is local of Tom Hanks appearing in that film, right? And this is something that I'm hoping to build with Clowder. And if anyone is interested in my project, please contact me. My email is the one that is in uh, gold color, rbhttchr@illinois.edu, and the data sets of this particular film, A League of Their Own, and Tom Hanks's image gallery is in this on this page, github.com, rbhttchr, Clowder data. That's all, folks. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak at this conference.
Hi, Rini. I have a question for you. So you mentioned about the semi-automated way of annotating, right? So do you have like some thoughts about like, how do you envision this? Using Clowder, would that be like an just like labeling individual images, or would it be something more like actively involved, like people watching some videos and doing that on an active basis? I was just curious about that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So one of the reasons why that's why I said I don't like the canned, the kind of production of data, because because I want the students to be involved so that they can understand, okay, how the data kind of relates to their experience of watching the movie. So I am kind of thinking of whether it can be just a very simple interface of where they can tag the images, right? Like I have seen some other people develop some tools using Python that because what I have is just a series of still images. So I want the student to kind of pick some of those shots of different kind, say Tom Hanks in different wearing different clothes and in different moods, and kind of tag and maybe assign a number. And what I can also do, what can be kind of done in sort of a mass scale, is also keep a folder. Like, for example, I'm keeping the IMDb image gallery folder in the folder of each movie. I can also put one file that has the list of all the actors, grabbed from IMDb using IMDb Py and the names of the characters, because that file will have an index. So Tom Hanks will come at either 0 or 1. So they can just put, like, can kind of click on Tom Hanks's face, and that will kind of give it identifying square or whatever, and they can just tag it 0. And
Okay.
Gina Davis can be 1, something like that.
Okay, thank you.